Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode of Heel Heat, we're going to do a How I Would Have Booked. On this one, we're tackling the end of the Undertaker streak. Now, this comes recommended from our friend Aaron the Joker 27. They wanted to see what we would do, how we would end the streak. I'm going to go at it at three different angles. What I would prefer to do, which would be my first choice. The second choice would be I'm the booker hired by Vince McMahon and we have to end it at WrestleMania 30. And the third choice is I'm the booker hired by Vince McMahon and I can end it whenever I feel like it. So, first thing, my first option for the Undertaker streak is you never end it. I don't care what Undertaker says. I don't care what Vince McMahon says. I don't care what any wrestler says. This was the Undertaker's thing. And I know he wanted to let Brock Lesnar win. He wanted to let Brock Lesnar beat the streak. However, in my opinion, in my fandom, I would have preferred the Undertaker never lose at WrestleMania, retires undefeated at WrestleMania, and that's his story. Kind of would be his calling card, his equivalent of Ric Flair's 16 World Championship, or the Dudley Boys' 23 Tag Team Championships, or any number of things. And yes, the Undertaker's a legend, whether he's 1-25 at WrestleMania or 25-1 at WrestleMania. The point of the matter is, in my opinion, I would have never had the Undertaker lose the streak. That's my first option. The second option, Vince McMahon comes to me and says, George, we want the Undertaker to lose the streak at WrestleMania 30. You got to come up with a way to do it and who you're going to do it against. So this is how I would build to that. I would start off with some things that they actually did on Monday in the WWE in 2013 leading into WrestleMania. First being April 8th on Monday Night Raw. We have the Shield come out and they attempt to attack The Undertaker only to be stopped by Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane. So we see the first glimpse of the Shield and The Undertaker going forward. A couple weeks later, on April 26th on SmackDown, we have Dean Ambrose facing off against The Undertaker. Undertaker gets the triple powerbomb. He's written off of TV for a while. The Shield take out the Dead Man. I'd leave those two in as part of the build, leave Undertaker off of TV. He would show back up at WrestleMania 2014. Or I'm sorry, not WrestleMania. Royal Rumble 2014. Sorry about that. And this is where I would bring him in. We'd get down to our Final Four. I'd keep it the same Final Four as the real Royal Rumble had. Have CM Punk, Batista, Sheamus, and Roman Reigns as the Final Four. We get to where all four square off, and we get that moment where we get to the Final Four where everybody looks at each other. Boom, the lights come out. We hear the gong. Boom, lights come back up. Now we have The Undertaker in the ring. All four men look at him surprised. He looks at Punk, turns, looks at Batista, turns, looks at Sheamus, and then finally looks to Roman Reigns, attacks Roman Reigns, throws him over the top rope. Boom, lights go out. Boom, lights come back up. Undertaker's gone. Roman Reigns was eliminated by The Undertaker. I keep that going where on Raw, the Shield calls out The Undertaker. He doesn't show. The next week, the Shield comes out again. They call out The Undertaker. Still doesn't show. The third week, I have him come out. I have Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins say, look, man, I have him in a backstage segment say, look, man, this is going too far. What happened happened. This is your fight. We're gonna stay out of this. If you want to fight The Undertaker, it's on you. We don't want to mess with him. So I have I have Roman go out by himself, cuts a promo, say, "Hey, dead man, I want my payback. I want my payback at WrestleMania." Points to the sign because, everybody loves to point to the sign when they're challenging The Undertaker. "I want your answer by next week." Next week comes, we get to the end of the show, no answer. Roman's out there again. "I guess you're scared, dead man. You're not going to come out and face me. I can guarantee my Shield brothers are not going to be there. This is something I have to do for myself. This has nothing to do with the Shield. This has something to do with Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker." And then boom, he doesn't show. The next week, I have Roman in the main event, beating someone like Sheamus. Gets the pin. It's the end of Monday Night Raw. He's standing with his hands held up high. Now the lights go out. Boom, lights come back on. It's The Undertaker. Undertaker looks at him, does the third slash, points to WrestleMania sign, which is behind Batista, but in Undertaker's view. Or, I'm sorry, behind Roman, but in The Undertaker's view. I don't know why I call him Batista. Points to the sign. Roman looks at the sign. We go off the air. So now we lead up to this. We're leading up to it. 2 weeks out from WrestleMania, we get them to sign the contract against each other. At the contract signing, the Shield attacked The Undertaker. Roman backs Dean and Seth off and says, "No, I'm going to do this on my own. I have to do this. I need to know if I can beat him." The next week, Undertaker comes out. Basically, in a warm-up, he's put in a match against Seth Rollins, destroys him. Dean Ambrose comes out to take out The Undertaker to help Seth. Roman comes out as well. Instead of helping Seth and Dean attack The Undertaker, he stands with The Undertaker and backs off Seth and Dean. This way, we know for sure there's a little bit of a separation in the Shield, as well as, he's going to be a man of his word, and at WrestleMania, it's going to be a clean match between him and The Undertaker. We go to WrestleMania 30. The match is The Undertaker versus Roman Reigns. Hard-hitting match. I give it 15-20 minutes. Leave all the shenanigans out. Again, the Shield come out again. This time, Roman actually attacks them and runs them off. We think that it's going to be his undoing because after he's done attacking him, he turns into a choke slam. 1, 2, Roman gets his shoulders up. They continue to wrestle. Roman hits the Superman punch. Big spear. Undertaker kicks out. Does it again. Undertaker kicks out again. We go on another 5-6 minutes. Finally, he hits the power bomb on The Undertaker. Except for it's not a normal power bomb. He hits the Last Ride's version. Last Ride, which was Undertaker's version. Boom. 1, 2, 3. He gets the pin. The crowd is stunned. Roman Reigns has just beat The Undertaker. He's separated himself from the Shield effectively, and he's ready to go on a run as a big star on his own. Now, I know there's a lot of people looking at this in 2018 eyes and kind of consider Roman a failure, don't like how he's been pushed, but do remember, back at this time, he was looking like he was going to be the breakout member of the Shield, that this was going to be his trajectory. I'd go back, I'd keep it just like that. Just like I said, this would be my way of making Roman Reigns more palatable to the people. There's going to be fans that turn on him. There's going to be fans that stay with him. Either way, he's going to look like a bigger deal beating The Undertaker. And in my opinion, The Undertaker's streak should have went to someone that you're trying to build, not to a guy that has all the credibility in the world like Brock Lesnar. So yes, we're going to give it to Roman Reigns. Yes, I know it's probably not a particularly popular route to go, but this would have been the route I would have went at the time. Because at the time, it looked like Roman Reigns was going to be the next John Cena. And he still may be. So that's my second option. Now my third option, like I said, I'm going to do 3. The first was never. Second was WrestleMania 30. The third is I get to book it whenever I want. So I wait another year. WrestleMania 31 is when I'm going to beat the Undertaker streak. I have him win at WrestleMania 30 against Brock Lesnar. Go on. We see Bray Wyatt start taking off in the Wyatt family. And we actually build them where they're beating people. He's beating John Cena instead of losing the feud to him. He's beating Randy Orton. He's beating Kane and Daniel Bryan. He's beating everybody that comes up against him. He's unstoppable. We get to the point at the Royal Rumble in 2015 where, Bray's gone and he's laid everybody out, but he doesn't win the Rumble. So the night after the Royal Rumble, we have Bray Wyatt standing in the ring, cutting a Bray Wyatt promo. In the middle of the promo, it does the Bray Wyatt cutaway, the whole thing with the static and the jump. And boom, lights are out. Does the static and the jump, boom, lights are back on. Bray standing face to face with the dead man. Undertaker looks at him. Bray looks up at him, starts laughing. Undertaker does a third slash, points to the sign again. This happens every WrestleMania with Undertaker. So yes, it's stupid and yes, it's derivative, but it's what they do. So I'm going to continue on with that. Points to the sign. Boom, we see the jump cut again. Boom, the jump cut comes back. Undertaker's gone. Bray's in the ring laughing, drops to his knees, spreads his arms as he does. We go off the air with Bray laughing maniacally. Then I continue going on. We have a couple promos back and forth. We do Bray's promo. Undertaker shows up, does some promos. There's a couple of the mystical things. They both kind of play mind games against each other. Bray shows up when Undertaker's doing an interview, trying to attack him. Undertaker shows up at the end of Bray Wyatt's matches. We get this back and forth until the day of WrestleMania 31, which is WrestleMania play button, as it's normally what people call it, because it's the first time they decided not to give it a name. At WrestleMania, we have Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. We have the new kind of spiritual, kind of otherworldly cult leader versus the old guard, the Undertaker, the guy that's, has magic, has supernatural powers, not the undead zombie, the undefeatable at WrestleMania. So we have a guy that's torn up the whole WWE and is undefeated, or not undefeated, but looks unstoppable, and we have a guy that's unstoppable at WrestleMania. We have the guy that's had the supernatural powers for the last 25 years versus the guy that has some of that, and he's kind of the new version of The Undertaker, the new Millennium Undertaker almost, you could say. I have it go good, give him 15-20 minutes. Boom, Bray picks up the win with his sister Abigail out of nowhere. Fans leave shocked. Again, we build up a younger guy, as Bray Wyatt being the heel for this generation. He's a guy that heat is going to keep him, make him a better heel. We accomplish two things at once. We end the streak, plus we do better with Bray Wyatt than they ever have booked him. We make him strong. We make it so Bray Wyatt is the dominant force in the WWE now. No longer The Undertaker. No longer John Cena. It is now Bray Wyatt. All paths to the championships go through Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. To me, this is where they need to go with Bray Wyatt. Now, he doesn't need to be a world champion to be the most dominant guy. The Undertaker, for the majority of his run, was not the world champion. When he got championships, most of his runs were very short. But he was still considered the top guy all the way through. You can do this with Bray Wyatt. I mean, for Bray Wyatt to win 11 out of 12 pay-per-view matches a year, or 10 out of 12, you still book him rather strong. This way, when a face comes on, someone like Roman Reigns, AJ Styles later on, Sami Zayn, whoever it may be, Seth Rollins, whoever it may be, when they beat Bray Wyatt, they've beaten a guy that took the streak. They've beaten a guy that is legitimate and credible and doesn't lose often. And that's how I would have kept it. That's how I would have kept Bray Wyatt, made him a bigger character while using The Undertaker to do so. With that being said, those are my three options. What I think I would have done, the optimal one, he never loses it. He has to lose at WrestleMania 30. He loses it to Roman Reigns. And he loses it whenever I feel like having him lose it, and that's WrestleMania 31 to Bray Wyatt. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. If you think my ideas are batshit insane, let me know. If you like what I'm doing, if you think I did better than what they did with the streak, let me know. If you have ideas of your own, put them down here in the comments. And again, before we go off, shout out to Aaron the Joker 27. Thanks for the recommendation. You really made me think outside of the box here, because it's a subject that nobody really wants to touch. Nobody wants to think about the streak ending. Everybody wanted it to go on forever. So, with that being said, again, shout out Aaron. Thank you for making me think out of the box. I appreciate the recommendation. My name is George Coles, and this has been an episode of How I Would Have Booked.